Davao City, one of the most vibrant economies in the world. And the world comes together because life is here. As Mindanao's primary investment hub, the city boasts its outstanding transport connection, production technologies, favorable climate, and vast fertile land suitable for agribusiness. As one of Davao City's strongest sectors, the abundant supply of agricultural products and availability of raw materials along with low labor costs make food manufacturing and other value-adding activities viable for investors. The city's top commodity produce include banana, coconut oil, and pineapple, exported to different parts of Asia, reaching as far as Europe, Middle East, and the United States. Hailed as one of the most secured and livable cities in the world, Davao City is your best investment destination, especially in agribusiness and trade. Now is the best time to invest here. Come and invest in Davao City.
Nestled at the fullness of the Orient Seas, scattered gems of wonders right at the heart of the center of the Coral Triangle, the Philippines, with its 7,100 more islands, is a brewing paradise for your seafood pleasure. A country of infinites and teeming marine life sprawled across 220 million hectares of water, the Philippines is home to the world's richest marine biodiversity. As one of the world's top fish producers, we give more than your usual regular seafood experience. Live, fresh, smoked, frozen, dried, fresh frozen, seasoned or plain, we offer the best variety for your seafood fancy, however you like them to be. A socially and economically significant sector in the Philippines, fisheries provide livelihood to over 1.7 million fisherfolk. The bountiful seafood are caught sustainably using environment-friendly fishing gears from the seas that are dutifully managed, conserved, and protected for future generations. Coastal communities flourish and transform into lively, thriving eco-districts, generating employment for fisherfolk and their families. Our seafood products have undergone meticulous selection and production process. Each product is prepared and transported from fish source to production sites using best practices in food handling and safety guidelines. Food safety experts ensure that our fishery establishments, seafood processing plants, cold storage facilities, and warehouses follow quality standards from the world's food safety authorities. From the abundance enjoyed by our people, the Philippines now shares the same delight to various countries in different parts of the world. canned, bottled, fresh, or fresh frozen, it is our commitment to constantly boost and innovate the variety of our traditional and value-added fishery products. An array of tastes and flavors, a bursting concoction of delectable seafood found in the world's richest marine biodiversity. We are the Philippines. Choose our fish. Choose the Philippine seafood.
The agricultural landscape of the Philippines is the backbone of the rural agricultural small household farmers, agricultural entrepreneurs, local agri-based manufacturing industry. With the Rapid Growth Project, the Philippine government envisions a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secured life to every Filipino. The project is a value chain development-based program involving market-driven agri-production and processing to achieve global market integration, covering 4 commodity value chains in 7 regions and 20 provinces, including Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This can be achieved through the partnership among government agencies, financial institutions, and the private sector collaborating to provide strategic interventions, such as direct assistance through matching grants for productive investments in order to address market failures and encourage private sector investment, institutional strengthening, technical assistance to the rural financial service providers, innovative agri-financing, and management support, converging to include market-driven agri-production, increase productive capacity of small farmers to strengthen market linkage to benefit from the gain of commercial partnerships, transforming small farmers to become agripreneurs and bring trabajo, negosyo, and kabuhayan for men, women, indigenous peoples, and persons who are differently abled. To reach more agri-based cooperatives and rural financial institutions to further develop more MSMEs and build commercial business partnerships with the rural communities. We can strengthen and sustain market linkages in the local and global market and achieve inclusive and sustainable economic development. The Rapid Growth Project is a value chain development. It is about inclusion, convergence, and collaboration.
At Land Bank, we work hard to create and provide you with products suitable to your needs, complemented by a delightful customer service experience. We are Land Bank, and we are here to help you grow wherever you are. With our array of financial solutions, as well as our development lending programs, we make sure that everyone enjoys the many benefits of banking with us. We bring our financial services closer to more Filipinos beyond the 4 walls of our branches. Now and in the coming years, Land Bank commits to serving you better. And with your support and our continued partnership, we can make a lasting impact on the lives of more and more Filipinos. We are Land Bank. We bank on Filipino ingenuity and perseverance that have no bounds. We're about sharing hopes and ambitions and nurturing them to life. We revere partnerships in the spirit of cooperation as keys to success. We believe in the Filipinos' aspiration of triumph. We believe in you. Whatever your dream, whatever your goal, we are here to help you grow. This is our mission, And this is our promise to you.
Most business operations and economic activities worldwide were put on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic. With this situation, Magsige MPC has adopted the present situation in order to ensure the continuity of the cooperative operations despite from the pandemic and rolled out the 4 identified strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions, launching of community response programs, explore other income-generating activities, and following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions. The enforced lockdown during the coronavirus outbreak saw many organizations and businesses adopting a work-from-home scheme and shifting towards digital and cashless transactions as part of Magsige MPC's business continuity plan and adopt to the so-called new normal. Magsige MPC is now implementing its major shift to digitalize its operations. It had launched its own website via www.magsigempc.com to gain competitive advantage and improve the cooperative's image. This will help the cooperative in getting more leads and prospects, increase sales, enhance the Magsige MPC's professional brand, and ultimately improve its customer service. Aside from the website, the cooperative also engaged in putting up of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube with the same purpose to gain competitive advantage and ultimately improve its customer service. And with a partnership of Magsige MPC to the country's latest digital platform that will revolutionize the way cooperatives serve their members, DG Co-op. The platform enables the member to transact online. No need to line up for loan application. No need to wait for weeks to receive claims and benefits. Introducing the DG Co-op Wallet app and Circle Card, where members will receive their payout, claims, and benefits without lining up. Apply loans online. No need to go to any Magsige MPC offices and pay your dues in over 40,000 payment centers. And the most exciting feature of the platform, cooperative members can shop online via DG Co-op Marketplace, linked to Magsige MPC online store and the Magsige MPC Co-op Mart. Launching of community response programs. In times of severe crisis, like the coronavirus outbreak, it is fitting for Magsige MPC to channel the spirit of cooperativism by extending help to affected communities in whatever capacity it could. Such initiatives include production of protective equipment like coverall suits and face masks, continuing partnership with DepEd in the implementation of the cooperative's Adopt a School program, conduct of donation drives in partnership with fellow cooperatives, the LGUs in the private sector to help those in need in these trying times, exploring of other income-generating activities. The coronavirus outbreak had put many business operations in limbo. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Magsige MPC to look for opportunities that can help generate income for the cooperative. This includes the production of additional relevant product lines for garments manufacturing, such as the production of bed sheets and pillowcases, undergarments, and fashionable face masks under the brand Gray. Also, it is timely for the co-op to engage into agri-production, including coffee and banana. Other opportunities include on-demand delivery service, Magsige MPC online store that will bring the store at the doorsteps of our customers. There is also a great opportunity in the housekeeping services. The reason why Magsige MPC launched its housekeeping services, its workforce with NC2 certification from TESTA. It is also the pride of the cooperative of having its own training and assessment center, accredited by TESTA, with accreditation numbers 20201124 TRSHSK213012 and ACHSK021124192130 respectively. Following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies, Magsige MPC puts on top the safety and health of the personnel executing the projects. With the health and sanitary protocols to be implemented, no doubt that the cooperative can respond and adapt to the new norms despite of the pandemic. Inspired by its tagline for the year 2020, Magsige MPC will continue to engage in the available possibilities and will show the world that we can.
In 1968, the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines came down to Davao to invite some businessmen here to form the local chamber to be affiliated with them. So a group of young executives headed by Attorney Ramon Tirol, Edmundo Madrazo, Joe Custodio, Joe Sibilia, those are core group that organized the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
Of course, this is a Chamber of Commerce. The objective is to form a group so that we can have one voice for the business in our relation, firstly with the government, and secondly, in relation to other chambers, especially the national chambers and the other chambers of commerce abroad.
Davao City Chamber, or any business chamber for that matter, is supposed to help small and medium-scale business improve their business. Now, how do we do that? It brings all the small business together, particularly their problem with the local government or national government. There are other concerns such as wanting to meet with their supplier, wanting to meet with a potential customer, or wanting to meet with a peer businessman in the same industry.
Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, as the voice of the business sector of Davao City, has been actively conducting monthly membership meetings in order to know the recent trends and updates on business sector, and as well as get some insights, concerns, and issues of business community. With the Chamber's active involvement on the crucial issues surrounding the business community, it led to activities such as the dialogue on the proposed Davao Sasa Port Modernization Project, Forum on the Third Proposal Valuation Revision, and the Bangsa-Moro Basic Law Forum. This is on top of the major events that Davao City Chamber conducts, such as the Davao Agri-Trade Expo and Davao Investment Conference, in order to encourage investments in Davao and Mindanao in general.
Purpose of our membership in the chamber is first and foremost for business growth. The chamber represents for us a vehicle or venue for our companies, products, and services to be able to reach a wider or larger audience. And this is done by the activities and events that the chamber undertakes, such as the trade expositions, the symposia, the business conferences. These activities allow companies from here and abroad to get together and explore what they might want to undertake together in terms of projects or advocacies.
Monthly meetings of the Chamber have provided us a fertile ground for obtaining this information from the speakers, from the guest speakers of the monthly meetings, and from the issues and discussions that are raised by the Chamber members, thereby enabling us to have a comprehensive view of the information that we need to be able to support our plans for running our businesses.
We consider the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a very important partner in our advocacy for SME development as well as business development. They have been our partners since the DTI started back in 1987, and we really honed that partnership, develop and strengthen so that we can reach more MSMEs. We have implemented joint projects with the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. We have our SME Center. We have our mentoring of SMEs, as well as We have partnered in several big events such as their institutionalized date and other investment forum activities. And we wouldn't have done it that well without the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
The chamber also is giving priority to anything that would improve tourism, in the sense that tourism contributes a lot to what they call inclusive growth. The Davao Chamber is into advocacy to make everyone involved or stakeholders in the port understand how the port is doing and what to expect in the future.
The partnership between the city government and the Davao City Chamber of Commerce has always been grounded on two values, that is on cooperation and on support. They have always been actively engaged in the formulation of programs that has helped propel the business environment of Davao City, sitting as among the representatives of the private sector in the different boards and committees of the local government.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo webinar entitled Innovative Finance Opportunities for Inclusive Agribusiness. To formally start, we will begin with the invocation followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين وكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دافاو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, mawantog ka. Warag po ko iling ko'y ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Madayao, Mindanao, good day, Philippines. Welcome to the second part of the webinar series of the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. I am Roland Suico and I will be your host for today. Last November 10, we successfully conducted our first date webinar via live streaming. Today, as we start the second part of our date webinar series, we are still broadcasting live on Zoom and Facebook. Let us always stay safe by following the health protocols to prevent the further spread of the COVID-19 virus. I would like to greet all our participants, friends from the media, and everyone connecting with us on Zoom and Facebook today. A very pleasant morning to all. We hope that you are all staying safe amid the ongoing health emergency. This event is made possible through the unwavering efforts of the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated. At this point, I would like also to acknowledge the people who made this event more astonishing. Please watch this. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is the second part of the Davao Agri-Trade Expo 2020 webinar series. We have a lot of exciting topics in store for you today and in the succeeding webinars for this month as we continue to bounce back under the new normal. To give us her opening remarks, let us all welcome this year's Davao Agri-Trade Expo Chairperson and the Vice President for Industry of Davao Chamber, Ms. Cherilyn Kasuga.
Mabuhay ug padayaw. Hello, Trustee Roland. Thank you. I'd like just remove my glasses. I'd like to welcome you all to the second part of the Davao Agri-Trade Expo 2020 webinar series entitled Innovative Finance Opportunities for Inclusive Agribusiness. Access to finance is very essential for the growth of the agriculture sector. The shift from subsistence to commercial agricultural production requires funds that can support larger agriculture investments and agriculture related infrastructure that require long term funding, such as transportation, logistics costs, and advancements in technology and innovation. Today's DATE webinar will enable us to know about the government and banks' financing programs and services that are available at hand, as agricultural finance and insurance are strategically important for eradicating extreme poverty and boosting shared prosperity. The serious call for all the rural banking sector to be proactive really stands in transforming Philippine agriculture into a modern, high growth sector to help the economy recover from the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic. A robust rural banking system is necessary to provide financing support to investments in farm, agricultural inputs, and logistical systems and other initiatives to modernize Philippine agriculture. And so we ask our rural bankers to play a proactive role in this area. To our distinguished speakers, thank you so much for giving us your time and imparting us your knowledge on this matter. Your presentation for today would be very helpful to us as we bounce back under the new normal. And once again, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to the DCCCII Board of Trustees headed by our President, John Carlo Tria, Davao Chamber members, all the supporting government agencies, corporate sponsors, event partners, and online exhibitors. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. And as I may quote our lovely Mayor Sara said yesterday, and we, Dabawenyos, we will not break. The debts, the pain, the debts, and the frustration are sent our way to change us into Dabawenyos who look at the dark clouds and see it as the silver lining. May this webinar be very insightful and fruitful. Once again, good day to all and mabuhay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, VP Cherry. Today, we are privileged to be joined by prominent and distinguished speakers who will give us information and updates on the finance opportunities for the agribusiness sector in the country. We are encouraging everyone to prepare questions for our speakers to be addressed later in the open forum. To kick off our discussions, let me introduce to you our first speaker for today. Our first speaker is a certified agriculturist by heart. He will give us ideas about the problems that agripreneurs face that could be addressed by agri-financing services. Please help me welcome the Acting Assistant Head of the City Agriculturist Office, Mr. Edgardo Haspe.
Yes, sir. Maayong bundag. And to all the listeners, of course, ang tanang minaw karon maayong buntag sa tanan. So, I would like to ask the Secretariat to please share screen of my presentation. And before I proceed to my presentation, I would like to thank the organizers of this webinar, of course, the Davao City Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and of course, my friend, Ms. Chiri Kasoga, And to everyone who make this activity possible, thank you very much. Of course, for recognizing City Agriculture's Office as one of the resource person for this webinar. Of course, my presentations would anchored on the constraints in agriculture in Davao City. I believe that agripreneurs' needs will be tackled during my presentation. Next slides, please. Ma'am Secretariat. Of course, first of this is we have, but before that, this constraints was identified during the crafting of our Davao City agricultural and fishery development plan that was few years back. So we have invited a lot of stakeholders to identify those constraints from the different segment of value chain in agriculture. Of course, we identify first is for input provisions. First is we really lack of supply of organic seeds and seedlings and of high yielding varieties of planting materials. First is of course for organic seeds, we really don't have readily available organic seeds. And right now, we have a demo garden in Marfori, and of course, in the rooftop of our office. Though we are producing seedlings out of our production in that area, but in a limited scale. And of course, the high-yielding varieties that is needed by our farmers in uplands. Of course, we are abiding with the Government Procurement Act, so we can really expect those preferred varieties for our farmers. So this is also a constraint for our farmers right now. So there are farmers that prefer to buy their own seeds instead of using seeds that was given or provided by the city, of course the DA, no? Because they need to select those seeds which is preferred by the market, and of course which responds more production compared to those seeds provided. Of course, another thing is the limited availability and commercial distribution of organic fertilizers and inputs. Right now, we are extending effort and expanding our organic vermicomposting. Right now, we have one remaining vermicomposting facility in the DFTC, and we are also revive our vermicomposting facility in production in not Los Amigos, in Malagos, no. So this year we have received around 300,000 prize for the organic, the city organic award for Davao City. So we are a national awardee for organic, regional awardee for organic agriculture, rather. So we have to use that award for to rehabilitate our vermicomposting facility in Malagos. And of course, we have limited supply of fingerlings. Right now, we will about to procure around 500,000 fingerlings for our Los Amigos and Kalinan fisher fox that was affected by flood last year, even this year. But unfortunately, nagkaroon ng field bid kasi walang supplier ng fingerlings. Not now, we are on the process of looking for accredited producers from fingerlings in the city. Next slide, please. Of course, we do have limited availability and commercial distribution of fish feeds and inputs. So right now, our fishers, our fish farmers are sourcing out their fish feed at outside Davao City. So meaning to say, they have to incur more costs in transporting those feeds. No? So these are also identified of our fish farmers in Davao City. Another thing is the limited irrigation and water systems. No? So what we did or what we do right now is we have to implement more irrigation projects, no? Just like the ram pump irrigation and the solar pump. No? So with the DRRM fund, because in anticipation of the future long dry spell, so you have to procure more irrigation pumps and of course establish more water system, irrigation systems in the upland areas of the city. And right now, we have also these rainwater catchment projects in the city. So we have one hydraulic excavator. This is backhoe used to excavate. So around 10 by 15 square meters of pan in order to catch water so that it will be stored for a couple of days and it will serve as water source for a neighboring farm. Of course, the owner of the farm itself. So it also serve as water catchment during rainy season, and of course, it will catch around 200 cubic meters of water during rainy season. Next slide, please. Madam Secretariat, next slide. And of course, in production segment, we identified that we do have limited access. The farmers, we have limited access to soil analysis services. No? So, though right now, we have our agricultural technologists who conduct soil analysis, but in a limited scale. So, in the district, they do have the soil test kit for soil analysis, but it will also, it would only analyze for the macro elements of the farm, no? Meaning to say, for the NPK, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, they have to identify whether or not their farm is abundant or deficient on this macro elements. And of course, also, they can also know if it is acidic or not. Meaning to say the soil pH of their farm also. Next, of course, we also identified the pest and disease infestation. No? So right now, in the case of corn, we closely monitor the presence of fall armyworm. No? So this fall armyworm, like the common armyworm, is also voracious feeders or eaters of our, so can damage most of our corn plants. No? So our agricultural extension workers are closely monitoring this pest infestation. I'm talking of the fall armyworm, and not only that, also all types of pest and disease infestation in the area. So that is our mandate to manage the pest infestations in our crops. No? Another thing is, of course, the limited capacity of farmers to cope with the capital requirements. So this is I think, the meat of our discussion today, the capacity of farmers to cope with capital requirements. So what we did is, though the City Agri don't have the programs to provide with capital to our farmers, but we link them to the programs of Department of Agriculture through Agriculture and Credit Policy Council. No? So before, they have the PLEA, no? The Production Loan AC Access, and the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. So, a lot of farmers, our Davao City farmers and fishers have availed those programs. So they engage in different agri-enterprise like banana, and recently our fish farmers in Matina Playa also availed this program, the AC program. And when I was in Torre District, a lot of farmers who has funded by this program, and we really help them in securing those documents that required by the bank, and of course the program itself. No? And of course, the another thing is the limited outreach of our existing agricultural extension services and providers, and low active and uptake and adoption of sustainable agriculture and fishery practices. So really admit that we cannot reach out all farmers in the city, especially those in remote areas. One of the reasons is of course, we also have limited manpower to do this job. No? But right now, fortunately, the city has able to hire additional 22 agricultural extension workers last year, and this year we are able to hire another 12 agricultural extension workers. No? That will add our manpower enable to reach out all our farmers in the hinterlands. Of course, another thing is farmers' resistance to adopt new technology. Of course, there are technologies that, of course, produce more harvest compared to the inherited technology that was used by our farmers. But of course, there are farmers that resistant or just wait and see attitude or how this technology works in other farms. So that's why we also
Hello, Sir Edgar. Can you still hear us? Nawawala po kayo, sir, sa connectivity po ninyo. Thank you so much, Mr. Haspe, for your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some technical problems with the connection of Mr. Haspe, but that is already the last part actually of his presentation. Again, thank you so much, no, Sir Haspe, for that presentation. Now we will be informed about the updates on the government's programs and services that are available for the agriculture sector. Let me introduce to you our second speaker for today. She obtained her undergraduate degree, Bachelor of Arts in Philippine Studies, major in Sociology and Psychology at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She earned her master's degree in technology management from the Technology Management Center in the same university. Prior to her employment at the Department of Agriculture, she had collaborative projects with several DA offices in the areas of agribusiness, sustainable agriculture, information and communications technology, value chain, business modeling, farm tourism, among others. Her first position at the department is head executive assistant and is designated as undersecretary and chief of staff. She became a full-fledged undersecretary on March 3, 2020 through the appointment of His Excellency President Rodrigo R. Duterte. She is an advocate of agribusiness, having assisted cooperatives, wounded soldiers, and indigenous peoples, specifically the Aita communities, with the aim of attaining high productivity and increased income. This is perhaps the basis for her new and challenging designation, Undersecretary for Agri-Industrialization and for Fisheries. She is a well-rounded person, and this makes her an asset to the organization. With her work experience, passion, leadership, and wide perspective in agriculture, she was handpicked by the servant leader, Secretary William Darr, to be a member of his management team towards the attainment of the department's goal to double the farmer's income and contribute to the legacy of His Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Undersecretary Cheryl Marie Ching Natividad Caballero.
Thank you, Roland, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you and magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Um, Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat and it's an honor to be part of this wonderful event which was organized by the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In behalf of the Department of Agriculture, through the leadership of Secretary William Darr, and in behalf of the, we would like to extend our warmest congratulations to the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry in coming up with the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. We also would like to take cognizance of the resilience of this organization that amidst the pandemic, you're able to present the light at the end of a tunnel by bringing hope and opportunities through this platform towards economic recovery. To start with, we take cognizance also on the agriculture and fisheries role as it has proven its resilience during the pandemic, for it is the only sector that registered a positive growth, while others, particularly industry and services, had a double figure negative dip. The role of Mindanao in contributing to the country's food security is magnanimous, given its resource advantage and strong private sector investments in growing the agriculture and fishery sector. We take cognizance of your equitous way of managing the resources and continuous effort to unleash the economic potential of Mindanao. And with this, the Department of Agriculture has opened platforms to allow partnerships and complementations to enable the growth of this sector as we aim to capacitate even our, particularly our disadvantaged and marginalized groups through organization of farmers, cooperatives, and associations to take part in the agricultural value chain. We do enjoin the private sector to invest their money in strategic areas and grow a more sustainable and scalable agribusinesses towards a more participatory mechanism as we aim to scale up the department's public-private community partnership platform. With this, allow me to do my presentation on the agribusiness aspect and the support that the Department of Agriculture has given, particularly to unlock the potential of the agriculture sector. To start with, we start with a framework, which is called the Food Security Framework, um, to showcase the vision, no, of a food secure and resilient Philippines with prosperous farmers and fisher folk. So etong vision na po ito would allow everybody, no, to be in the same boat as we aim to survive, reboot, and grow the sector towards a more resilient socio-economic recovery. Can we move on to the next slide, please? This framework now gives us the opportunity to scale up by looking at the production and availability of our food products, the accessibility and affordability, price stability, sustainability, and food safety. This becomes our primary objective to enjoin everybody in terms of going through farm consolidation, modernization, industrialization, export promotion, and infrastructure development. As the sector has shown its resilience, we have been blessed to receive a budget for the sector, and we also continuously plea for investments that would allow the agency and the stakeholders to develop and implement sustainable roadmaps for the recovery. We aim to establish systems that will ensure a win-win participation alongside the value chain and logistics to develop products that are safe and affordable to the community, as well as competitive enough to land in the export market, to have empowered farmers and fisher folks that will allow us to broaden the support services and mainstreaming, to be able to generate jobs and encourage entrepreneurial activities so that people can generate employment as well, and to establish strong institutions through partnerships with local government units, national government agencies, universities, farmers cooperatives and associations, the private sector, industry associations, and other stakeholders to make sure that we are able to have a balanced natural ecosystems management over and above this development process. So the next slide gives us an overview on the food systems policy shifts. The policy shift now looks at a more integrated food production system wherein the participation of local communities is strongly recognized to increase our food sufficiency levels, to harmonize the food systems with other related sectors, to make sure that we have a traceability and equally dependable food safety protocols, and adapting this in the context of specific policies that will encourage urban and rural complementation, address hunger and all forms of malnutrition, at the same time focus on production to consumption value chains with a sustainable and scalable logistics system towards a more secured biosecurity measures. So to understand this context of complementation and empowerment, may I refer you to the next slide on how our agriculture and forestry and fishing sector contributes to economic development. Based on record, we have a total of 8,506 micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises that are engaged in agriculture, forestry, and fishing. But this that does not include those engaged in agribusinesses. No? So if we are to sum it up, it will really increase to around 35% of the total MSMEs in the country. The mechanism of partnership, as we continuously engage with our stakeholders, is to adopt an inclusive market-oriented development. This is now presented in the next slide, which shows a framework for inclusive agribusiness. So the next slide will show you how the creation of opportunities would allow us to enable small farmers and fishers and micro and small enterprises, as well as medium-scale enterprises, to become economically viable in the value chain. The principle of inclusivity, innovation, market expansion through profitability, and sustainable rural development will allow us now to move towards a higher level of prosperity and ensuring access to inputs and market opportunities. So this figure now shows us that reinvesting the gains towards the engine of growth is very important as we make use of technology and innovation to move from subsistence farming to a more dynamic market-oriented value chain approach. Together with this, we are going to develop assistance and safety nets, which were contained already under the Bayanihan 2 and implemented again and scaled up in the succeeding budget support that the department is going to implement by next year. We look at more managed risk and a more resilient agriculture and fisheries community. So ano po ba itong mga interventions na ito? The next slide will show us the various support of the Department of Agriculture in terms of inclusive financing. First is the Expanded Sure Aid and Recovery Project. So meron po tayong monitoring and nurturing agripreneurship or MANA, no? Which targets micro and small enterprises, including the OFWs. We have a program on agri-negosyo para sa OFWs, which also includes the access to a 10 million loanable amount, zero interest rate, and payable up to 5 years. This will be implemented alongside with the MSSF, wherein 25,000 loanable amount per household is going to be extended at zero interest, no collateral, and payable to 10 years. So, dalawa pong platform ito, isa nakatugma doon sa pangangailangan ng enterprises at isa naman ay nakatugma sa pangangailangan ng individual kung sila ay magninegosyo bilang isang entity. So, these are two platforms. The next would also give you, the next slide shows you the Expanded Sure Aid and Recovery Project on how far we have covered. No? Next slide, please. Shows us that we have covered so far total of 99 MSME borrowers amounting to 693 million pesos. Out of the targeted 150 MSMEs. So kasama na po dito ang OFWs. Bukod dito, sa MSFF, we were able to release 852 million through our partner lending conduits or PLCs to the amount of 852 million and dispersed this to 34,028 MSFFs. So that gives you around the 85% accomplishment to the target of 40,000 borrowers. The next slide gives you another loan portfolio, which is ANYO or Agri-negosyo. For micro enterprises, we have around 300,000 loanable amount at zero interest rate, And depending on the cash flow of the project, the payment should not exceed 5 years. We also have small agri-negosyo, which is around 15 million loanable amount, zero interest rate, and it depends again on the cash flow of the project, but not to exceed 5 years. The next slide offers another portfolio. Ito naman po ay para sa mga kabataan. Ano? So we have the capital access for young agripreneurs or KAYA. It is targeting 18 to 13 years old with 500,000 loanable amount, zero interest rate. And again, the payment is not to exceed 5 years. The other component, which is complementary to financing, is Maya. Next slide, please. Kung may kaya, may Maya. So Maya now is targeting the, Maya stands for mentoring and attracting youth in agribusiness. Can we have the next slide, please? This now covers this now covers the innovative lending for agribusiness for women, or ILAW. This includes the provision for loan program specifically targeting women to amplify gender equality in agribusiness. And it aims also to promote the empowerment of women in agriculture and fisheries. So naka-angkla po ito doon sa ating gender and development law, which mandates us to mainstream the programs for gender, wherein women in indigenous communities are among the target beneficiaries, as well as the farmers and fishers, and even female member of household of jeepney drivers who were drastically affected by the pandemic. Next slide, please. So the next slide now will give us the specifics also on how this is going to be worked out. No? So no collateral, no interest, payable in 5 years. Again, it is sent through the partner lending conduits in the region. We also employ cashless loans via Paymaya, and the eligible borrowers are agri-fishery production, processing and marketing, activities in the supply chain, and the combination of agri-fishery or farm on-farm enterprises. Next slide, please. Maya, or mentoring and attracting youth in agribusiness, is bringing your mentors through an internship program. The internship program provides a 6-month, on-the-job training for 20 to 30-year-old students or graduates with an assured allowance of 20,000. So sila po ay ating ilalatag either on the employment track or entrepreneurship track. So employment track will look for avenues that will allow them to be absorbed and be employed by the Department of Agriculture and its attached agencies, or to go into entrepreneurial activity and be part of the entrepreneurship program wherein they can engage in livelihood and businesses for them to create income opportunities for the other people that they can employ in the process of doing their businesses. So ito po ay ating paghahanda para i-attract din ang ating mga kabataan sa pagninegosyo at sa pagsiserbisyo sa ating bansa. Next slide. So the next slide is another platform. While the first one talks of mentorship, the second one naman talks of building an ecosystem for those who would like to engage in entrepreneurial activities. So ito po ay mga business ideas that you may want to grow and develop, or let's maybe look at it in terms of a proof of concept or POC mechanism, wherein the regional research institutions of the Department of Agriculture and the state universities and colleges as partners will be able to provide this kind of assistance through business incubation. meron po tayong pondong ilalatag dito para ang mga interesadong mag-incubate ng kanilang ideya ayon sa mga priorities ng Department of Agriculture base sa mga pag-aaral will give them access to market, credit, and network for local, regional, and international partnerships. So it can be a spin-off company also of established companies that may want to go into other areas of agribusiness. So this is an open platform for people who would like to, test their business ideas to reality. Heavily anchored on technology as the enabler to help us sustain the leadership and advantage through the intellectual property rights protection if you have that in your business models. Next slide, please. So the bigger picture naman after that is to look at spatial development. This is where we come up with agro-industrial business corridors and take cognizance, for example, of Mindanao's role in BIMPIAGA in the past. And the agro-industrial business corridors now looks at economic aggregation, no? How our logistics would be connected to the supply chain and how our production sectors would be able to support this upscaling of production systems in a big way. Case in point is our BCDA project, which takes off from a undeveloped land, will be used for a national seed technology park. No? The National Seed Technology Park po, para sa kaalaman ng lahat, ay napakahalaga dahil ito po ang magiging take-off natin sa ating pagpapalago ng moderno na taniman. No? Without proper seed system, there's no agro-industrialization because we will be dependent on the quality and sustainability of seeds to grow our produce. The objective of ABC is to disperse agri-based industries outside the Metro Manila area, to entice the private sector to invest, to integrate smallholders in the value chain, and to help address employment challenges brought by the pandemic and the climate change, which has really affected so many provinces in the past few weeks. Then we move to the next slide. The next slide now would allow us to identify ano namang mga produkto ang pwede nating tignan. Well, we take cognizance on the contribution of these crops, not only on what is currently produced, but on what the future offers as investment opportunities. We are known as the best producer of abaca. That's why we have the Manila hemp. And we are now looking at ways to improve the planting material through nursery establishment, the production of tea bags, etc., as a potential for value addition, the fabrication of extraction devices and machines, and the pulping and weaving as related to fiber craft businesses. We also look at the potential again of our mango and see what are the challenges and gaps that can be addressed. The same way with coconut, which has now become one of the most valuable commodity, given its therapeutic characteristic amidst the pandemic. So coconut will be repackaged in a way that will look at it as another sunrise industry, as well as our seaweeds. So the development of new and revival of idle seaweed farms are the priority of the government, and the fisheries sector would really focus on this farming mechanism to upgrade, modernize our processing plants, and work with the private sector to help them take advantage of the platforms that our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is unleashing to help, reboot and survive amidst this pandemic. So we enjoin the private sector to work with the Department of Agriculture and the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries to allow us help you and collaborate in terms of developing and unleashing the potential of our sector. So the next slide now also identifies other commodities, no? Which includes cacao, which is one of the important crops in Mindanao. We are looking at ways to partner with farmers, cooperatives, and associations and small and medium scale enterprises to grow this into a big industry. We are going to work with your organizations on how to improve the processes at kung ano pa po ang suporta na kailangan natin para mapalago natin ang sektor. The expansion of rubber also is one of the areas in terms of processing facilities and testing facilities to help you determine the quality of your rubber or cup lamps or as you sell it to the different processors that are available in the area. Coffee and shrimp also are amongst the produce that we aim to grow, expand, and export with the private sector and the local government unit, the industry associations, and other government agencies collectively working together to promote a conducive environment for more businesses to survive. Um, Lastly, I'd like to share a quote from the president on the next slide. He mentioned that he would like to stress, no, the importance of agriculture as the bounce back uh, of the um, of the government to unleash, no, the potential of the economy with a robust agricultural sector. His commitment to support the agriculture and fisheries was embedded in his State of the Nation address, in which he supported the provision for an adequate, accessible, and affordable food for every Filipino family through the Plant 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 program. He also highlighted, no, the need to build, and achieve this through the partnerships with local government units, regional directors, and of course, Secretary Dar leading the organization as we were given and still praying, no, to be given a wider sum, no, a bigger sum of 66 billion. Though we were just given 22 billion for Bayanihan 2, we hope and pray that with this continuous dialogue and partnership with the private sector and with the farmers, cooperatives, and associations, we would be able to develop, recover, and expand the potentials of the agriculture and fisheries. Lastly, we also would like to share, no, the dynamism of our secretary, Dr. William Dar, uh, who enjoins, no, everybody to act, win, heal, and rise as one. We believe that no pandemic can bury our dreams and aspirations. We believe that these lockdowns, these challenges are just part of the learning process. We should continuously fight for our continuous development by being able to come up with inclusive partnerships towards a more food secure and resilient Philippines with empowered and prosperous farmers and fisher folks. So with this, I would like again to congratulate the organizers of this event, and we extend our full support to the development of Mindanao and Davao, particularly as we aim to unleash the economic potential of the region. Thank you at maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much for that insightful presentation, Yosik Cheng. See you later, no, during our open forum. Now, let me introduce to you our next speaker. She graduated cum laude from the Ateneo de Naga University, taking up a course in economics, and has finished her Master of Arts in Economics from UP Diliman. She is one of the pioneers of the Agricultural Credit Policy Council, or the ACPC, since it was created in 1986. She started as staff researcher and was appointed executive director of ACPC in 2016. She was briefly seconded at the Senate of the Philippines as Executive Director of the Congressional Oversight Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries from 2010 to 2013. She has more than 30 years of experience in rural development work, particularly on rural finance for small farmers and fisherfolk, focusing on policy research and program development. She was recently appointed as one of the newest member of the Consultative Committee of the Common Fund for Commodities based in Amsterdam, Netherlands, an autonomous intergovernmental financial institution established within the framework of the United Nations. Please help me welcome Ms. Jocelyn Alma Badiola.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I would like to thank the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated for inviting us to be part of this timely and relevant webinar. I was tasked to talk about innovative finance opportunities for inclusive agribusiness. Thus, I will be focusing on ACPC's innovative agri-fishery credit programs for our small farmers and fisher folk and our micro and small enterprises. Before I proceed with our current credit programs, allow me to introduce to you our agency. The ACPC is an attached agency of the Department of Agriculture being led by our tireless Secretary, William Dar. Essentially, ACPC's mandate is to foster increased access of small farmers and fishers, including micro and small enterprises, to affordable, accessible, and timely credit through innovative lending programs which we develop and implement through our partner lending conduits or PLCs. Let me explain that our agency per law cannot do direct lending. Hence, we tap government and non-government financial institutions as PLCs that administer and extend loans directly to eligible borrowers. Non-government financial institutions include cooperative banks, rural banks, cooperatives, and viable NGOs and associations. Our partnership with these grassroots-based organizations in the implementation of our programs continues to significantly contribute to financial inclusion as it allows for the delivery of sustained access to credit in unbanked and unserved areas. In fact, out of the 510 unbanked municipalities listed by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, our programs are able to reach 210 of these unbanked municipalities. So we are very grateful to our cooperative partners who are in these areas. Okay, so now let me now present the Expanded Sure Aid on and Recovery Project or Sure COVID-19. This program is part of the Ahon Lahat Pagkaing Sapat Kontra COVID-19 program or ALPAS sa COVID-19, which is the DA's initiative to increase and sustain the country's food adequacy level during the COVID-19 pandemic, which placed the country under a state of emergency. Okay, the Sure COVID-19 has two facilities. First is the facility for micro and small enterprises, which provides working capital loans for MSEs that would allow them to continue operations and ensure the availability of food supply during the pandemic. And for small farmers and fishers to provide emergency financial assistance to those whose incomes were affected by the pandemic. Now, for the SFF facility, farmers and fishers may borrow loans worth 25,000 pesos, no collateral required, zero interest rate, and payable up to 10 years. Now, here are the simple requirements for the loan applicants. A government-issued ID, a photo, filled out loan application, and a promissory note. They must also be in the RSBSA or the registry system for basic sectors in agriculture. It is a database of farmers, fisherfolk, and farm laborers used by the DA, and its attached agencies and bureaus in identifying beneficiaries for its various programs. We engage the local government units through their municipal agriculture office in verifying if the applicant is listed in the RSBSA. If not, they can enroll by coordinating with the municipal agriculture office or the DA regional field office or the ACPC focal person in the respective area to assist and facilitate their registration. They only need to fill up an enrollment form. Once the list of eligible borrowers is validated by the DARFO and ACPC, it will be transmitted to the PLC. The PLC then conducts evaluation and facilitates the loan release and, of course, collects loan repayment after the maturity period. Now, for the Sure COVID-19 Micro and Small Enterprises Facility, borrowers may avail themselves of loans up to 10 million pesos at zero interest and payable up to 5 years. Here are the eligibility requirements. They must be registered with the CDA, the SEC, or the DOLE or other government registering institutions. They must be operational for at least 1 year. They have proven management capacity to implement projects, and they have readily available agri-fishery products from farmers and fisherfolk. Here are the application requirements for MSEs. An endorsement letter from the DARFO or the provincial or municipal LGU and other partner government agencies. Number 2, a letter of intent or application. Number 3, board resolution signifying intention to be a borrower, designating its authorized signatories. Number 4, a business plan. Number 5, a copy of certificate of registration documents from any government institution like CDA or the SEC or DOLE. Financial statements for the past 3 years preceding the date of application. You see, the PLC needs to establish that the MSE, the enterprise, can effectively manage a business or has the capacity to pay and must have a good project in terms of contributing to the food security of the country, which is one of the objectives of having this facility as part of DA's ALPAS program. Now, how to apply? For interested MSEs, you may use your online application that can be found in our website, acpc.gov.ph. Just fill out the form and upload the requirements. The ACPC will then review your submissions and endorse the application to a PLC. The PLC will then process the application, and if approved, the loan shall be disbursed to the MSE borrower. Now let's proceed to the second program, which is the Capital Access for Young Agripreneurs or KAYA. This program targets the younger generation of Filipinos to be key players in ensuring affordability and availability of food supply. We're trying to encourage the youth to get into agriculture in order to ensure food security of future generations. Kaya borrowers must be 18 to 30 years old and graduates of formal or non-formal schooling, including but not limited to agriculture and fishery-related degrees from higher education institutions, DA and ATI accredited programs, farm schools, and secondary schools with agri or fishery-related courses. Now, what are the Kaya features and the purpose? The eligible loan purpose for Kaya is to finance the capital requirements of their startup or existing farm or fishery business. So under this program, we provide funding not only for those with existing businesses, but also those who would like to start new businesses or what we call as startups. Under the program, our young agripreneurs may borrow uncollateralized loans up to 500,000 pesos at zero interest, payable up to 5 years. Now, what are the documentary requirements? One government-issued ID with picture, loan application form, a simple business plan. So those who are, especially those who are startups, whose projects are startups, they would have to undergo an in-house training on how to prepare a business plan. Okay, we have a team in charge of that, as well as a proof of registration under the RSBSA, or the Farmers and Fisherfolk Enterprise Development Information System, or the FEDIS. Now, we have recently launched the Kaya Card in partnership with digital finance and services provider PayMaya. Through the said partnership, PayMaya will allow our partner lending conduits to disburse loans to borrowers digitally through their PayMaya-enabled prepaid payment cards. The loan disbursement solution for PLCs is 24/7 and has a real-time crediting through the PayMaya Payout web-based portal. On the other hand, Kaya loan beneficiaries will enjoy various functionalities of the PayMaya card that allows them to make online and in-store payments, pay bills, buy load, send money, and withdraw funds, among other financial services, which will allow them to continue to transact even in the face of pandemic-related restrictions such as physical distancing. This is just the beginning, as we are setting our sights on integrating this technology solution to other credit programs in the near future. Finally, may I present the Agrinegosyo, or ANYO. ANYO offers zero interest loans to finance capital requirements of individuals, groups, OFWs, and micro and small enterprises that are engaged in agriculture and fishery projects. The eligible loan purpose for the program is to finance the working capital requirements for production, processing, and distribution, and other activities along the supply chain, and acquisition of machinery, equipment, and construction and other facilities. For individual borrowers who are still working on their registration, they can avail themselves of up to 1 million pesos. For registered micro enterprises with total assets of not more than 3 million pesos, the maximum loan amount is 3 million pesos. For registered small enterprises with total assets of more than 3 million pesos, maximum loan amount is 15 million pesos. These loans have zero interest and is payable up to 5 years. Just to give you an idea, here are some examples of projects that can be financed under the annual loan program. So there you go. Any project in agri-fishery along the supply chain can be financed by ANYO. Okay? Now, aside from loans, we also have capacity building interventions for loan beneficiaries under ANYO and Kaya. We recognize that our OFWs, young agripreneurs, and startup business owners may need capacity building support in order to succeed in their business venture. So, a support component to Kaya and ANYO, the ACPC is engaging state universities and colleges, government agencies such as the Agricultural Training Institute and the Department of Trade and Industry, and Business Development Services to train and mentor our loan beneficiaries. Application process for both Kaya and ANYO is also through our website, acpc.gov.ph. You need to fill out the form and upload the requirements. Once you have submitted the complete requirements, we will endorse these to our PLC, who will evaluate and approve your applications. Now, there may be countries wherein our official website is inaccessible. So we also posted the online sign-up links for the 3 programs in our official Facebook page. To access it, just go to facebook.com Agri-Credit Policy Council or just search Agricultural Credit Policy Council on Facebook. The post about the online application to the three programs is pinned at the top of the page, meaning it is the first post you will see on our page. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with us through the contact details on your screens. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Maraming salamat po and mabuhay kayong lahat.
ACPC, ACPC, AC.
Thank you so much, Ms. Badiola. Before we proceed, again, we would like to thank everyone joining us today from their respective homes and offices. You are watching the second part of the Davao Agri-Trade Expo webinar series. Let us always stay safe by following the minimum health standards to prevent the further spread of the COVID-19 virus. We are also encouraging everyone to prepare questions for our speakers to be addressed later in the open forum. At this juncture, we will be informed by the bank's financing programs and services that are also available at hand. To continue our discussion, let me introduce to you our next speaker for today. He has obtained a master's degree in business administration at the Far Eastern University. He is a program officer of the Development Bank of the Philippines and has extensive experience in formulating, designing, and executing loan programs and products to support the major thrusts of the bank in areas of agribusiness and MSME development. He has major accomplishments in the implementation of the bank's broiler program and the discounting line facility. He has taken part in the enhancement of the partnership between the bank and DNR for sustainable tree planting initiatives. He is also part of the implementation of the bank's participation in the Credit Surety Fund program of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Let us all welcome Mr. Aaron Ashley Diaz.
Hello, good morning. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Thank you for inviting DBP in this webinar entitled Innovative Finance Opportunities for Inclusive Agribusiness, spearheaded by the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry as part of the 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. So I won't do much introduction. First, I'll give you a brief background of DBP, then we'll start talking about the lending programs of DBP for the agriculture sector. But first, allow me to close my camera before the presentation proper, just to make sure that we have good internet connection. Okay. All right. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So first things first, ano po ba ang DBP? Okay. Well, DBP is a premier development financial institution. DBP was designated by the national government as the country's infrastructure bank. We are 100% owned by the national government, and we've been the catalyst for nation building for more than 73 years now. So we are also the first Philippine bank to be ISO 14001 certified. So that this means that DBP adheres to the principles of sustainable development. Right. As of date, we have 126 branches, 11 extension offices. We also have 178 on-site ATMs and 560 off-site ATMs. We do also have 22 lending centers serving both the banked and unbanked areas in the country. So we, aside from that, we also continue to forge partnerships with various financial technology companies in the Philippines to expand our reach. Okay. Alright. So mag-start na po tayo sa pagdi-discuss ng mga lending programs ng DBP. The first one is the Sustainable Agribusiness Financing Program, or what we call SAFP. SAFP is the main lending program of the DBP that caters to the agriculture sector. So with SAFP, DBP provides financing for the production, harvesting, processing, and marketing. So this includes sales and distribution of agribusinesses. So sino-sino ba ang pwedeng mag-apply for a loan under the DBP SAFE? So all business entities duly registered with the Security and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Labor and Employment, and Cooperative Development Authority. Pwede rin pong mag-apply ng loan sa atin under DBP SAFE ang mga local government units. Okay, so eligible projects. I won't run through the eligible projects one by one. Just name your needs and DBP will finance them. Okay. Loan amount. So under the DBP SAFB, specifically for livestock and aqua fishery projects that have contract agreements with integrators, loan amount can be provided up to maximum of 80% of the total project cost. For projects other than those with contracts with integrators, we can provide financing up to 90% of the total project cost. So for tenor, if we will be doing term loans, we can provide up to 15 years of term or tenor inclusive of the grace period. Pag credit line naman po, we can provide up to 360 days. Next is the grace period. For projects with short gestation period, we can provide maximum of 3 years. Then for those projects naman na merong long gestation period, we can provide a grace period of up to 7 years. The grace period applies to the principal payment. All right. So speaking of payments, we offer options for monthly, quarterly, and semi-annual amortizations depending on the cash flow of the project. All right. Under SAFP po, may special conditions tayo for those projects with contracts with integrators. So the first one, of course, DBP shall be the major depository bank and shall nominate the DBP account for the crediting of proceeds from the integrator. Then meron tayong level of priority when it comes to the payments from the integrator. First is the DBP amortization, then all excess funding will go to the operating fund of the borrower. So requirements po natin, very basic. We just need to have a letter of intent, filled out application forms. We just need a copy of your business registration documents. And if you have a business plan or project brief, that isasubmit nyo lang po sa amin yan, and all other documents that may be necessary for the loan evaluation. All right. So that is DBP SAFI po. As of date po, we have 185 beneficiaries in Davao. So around 420 million loans po ang na-provide natin sa Davao area. Notable accounts are the Lionheart and Hadros Development Corporation. All right. So next lending program of DBP is the Broiler Contract Growing Program, or BCGP. So BGCP is or BCGP is DBP's program for the financing of broiler contract growing projects. Ano po ba ang broiler contract growing? So this is a farming arrangement where growers raise chickens under a contract for an integrator. The integrator generally provides the birds, feeds, technical support, and as well as the market, while the grower provides the land, housing, facilities, labor, and the management of the farm. Again, eligible borrowers natin dito as long as the business is duly registered ng mga government agencies natin like SEC, GTI, DOLE, and CDA. All right. Eligible loan purpose natin under the Broiler Contract Growing Program. It can be for farm development, farm acquisition. So this includes the land, building, and all improvements of the farm. Then we also do farm expansion and farm rehabilitation. So when we talk about loanable amount, we can provide financing up to maximum of 75% of the total project cost. Ang interest rate po natin, prevailing market rate po tayo. As of today, ang market rate po natin for small and medium enterprises, nasa 6 to 8% po tayo per annum. So we for the tenor, we can provide up to 10 years, 10-year term, and this includes the grace period of up to 1 year and 6 months. All right. So next program is the Expanded Rice Credit Assistance under Rice Competitive Enhancement Fund, or the ERCA RCEF. So the ERCA RCEF is a product of the rice tarification law championed by our good Senator, Honorable Cynthia Villar. So as of date, DBP's version of ERCA RCEP already benefited 3,377 farmers in Luzon. And it is our mission in DBP to provide the program to more rice farmers, especially in the Mindanao area. All right. So let's talk about the loan features. For individual farmers or member borrowers of the cooperatives, ang mga eligible purpose po natin is for purchase of farm inputs and acquisition of machineries and equipment, to include mechanical dryer. So we can provide up to 90% of financing of the total project cost. So for the cooperatives naman, we can provide financing for the purchase again of the farm inputs, for working capital, for your machineries and equipment. If you need to establish a facility, we can do it for you, and you can also do relending or rediscounting to small rice farmers listed in the RSBSA. So again, loanable amount is up to 90% of the total project cost, while for the relending or rediscounting to rice farmer members, we can do up to 90% of the face value of the sub promissory notes or their outstanding balance in current status, whichever is lower po. Right. So next po natin, ito po ang bagong programa po ng DBP na ginawa po in response to the Bayanihan 2 or the BARO Act. Okay, so this is DBP Response to Accelerate MSME Recovery, or DBP Response MSME Recovery. Medyo mahaba po ang pangalan. Ang tandaan po natin ay recovery. So sino-sino po ba ang mga eligible borrowers for this program? So first, for retail lending po, any duly registered medium enterprises, to include po startups and cooperatives that are existing or new clients of DBP, that are engaged in agri-fishery and non-essential services. So for wholesale lending naman po, nandito po yung mga bangko natin. So rural banks, thrift banks, microfinance-oriented banks, and non-bank financial institutions po na meron pong asset size of not more than 100 million. Alright. So eligibility criteria po for the MSME recovery. First po, para sa mga existing na po na mga kliyente ng DBP, dapat po the business is currently operating with 1-year track record of profitable operations pre-COVID. So yung existing loan nyo po sa DBP should be in current status pre and during the COVID-19 pandemic. So in case po naman na restructure po yung account natin o yung ating loan, the borrower should not or have not violated any of the terms and conditions of the restructured loan. And dapat po, wala po tayong mga new adverse information po. Alright? So that's for the existing accounts. For new accounts naman po, or yung mga mag-a-apply pa lang po sa atin sa DBP under the MSME recovery. So for startup companies, at least 1-year operations is required po. No existing loan with other financial institutions for the same purpose. So no adverse findings. And ito po, meron pong gagawin of course na evaluation ang bangko para po sa debt servicing capacity. Nakabangga naman po ito sa mga isasubmit niyo pong financial statements. Okay. Alright, ano-ano po bang loan purposes ang pwede under the MSME recovery? The first one is for working capital requirement. para po ma-finance po natin yung operating expenses of the business at to ensure po natin yung na magpapatuloy pa rin po yung business natin amidst the ongoing pandemic. For wholesale naman po, the purpose should be relending specifically to agri-fishery and micro, small, and medium enterprises. So the sub-borrowers po dapat ng mga lending institutions must be for working capital financing or of operational expenses requirements of their borrowers or of the MSMEs and the agri-fishery businesses. Interest rate po natin for retail lending is 3% per annum. Fixed po ito for 3 years. Okay, for wholesale lending naman po, 2.5% per annum fixed for 3 years. Ang tenor po natin is maximum of 3 years to include po ang grace period. Ang grace period naman po natin is up to 12 months on principal payment po. Ayan po, loan security po natin, ito po ang magandang balita. For loans for loans 3 million and below, wala po tayong collateral requirement. Ang collateral requirement po natin mag-start po for those loans above 3 million. Para naman po sa wholesale lending natin, mas maganda po na the financial institution is accredited by the Philippine Guarantee Corporation or PGC, and all sub-borrowers or sub-loans should be insured as well by PGC. So proceeds shall be endorsed in favor, of course, of DBP. Aside from that, we also require assignment of promissory notes at 100% face value. All right. So yun po. To summarize po, we have 4 lending programs to cater for the agriculture sector or for agribusinesses. The first one is the Sustainable Agribusiness Financing Program. Second is the Broiler Contract Growing Program. We also have the ERCA RCEF. And lastly, the new program as DBP Response MSME Recovery. If you want to know more about those programs, or if you want to look for other lending programs and products of DBP, you may contact me or you may reach out through the contact information you see on your screen. You can also reach out to our Southern and Western Mindanao lending group there in Davao. Their phone number is 082-222-3477. Or you can all visit our website, www.dbp.ph. And you may also visit our Facebook page, Development Bank of the Philippines. So on that note po, gusto ko lang pong sabihin that DBP will always be here to serve you and be your partner in developing your agribusinesses. Thank you, and more power.
Thank you so much, Mr. Diaz. And now we are down to our last speaker for today. Our next speaker is an account officer of Land Bank Davao Lending Center. She is handling small and medium-sized enterprises, or the SME, and large corporate accounts with a total approved loan portfolio of 1.8 billion as of June 30, 2020. She has knowledge and experience in commercial lending and has been exposed to lending operations for 8 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ms. Laila May Bohol.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Roland, and good morning, everyone. I am Laila May Bohol, Account Officer from Davao Lending Center. I will directly discuss the special program of Land Bank in connection with DA, the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund Lending Program, or ACEF. So ACEF is created by virtue of Agricultural Tarification Act, which aims to increase the agricultural productivity of farmers and fishermen, as well as their cooperatives and associations and micro and small enterprises through extension of credit lines. So who are the eligible borrowers of this program? Next slide, please. First, we have, next slide, please. First, we have the individual farmers and fisherfolk. Individual farmers are those who are actually engaged in agricultural production farming, agribusiness, and similar activities, including those who are cultivating not more than 5 hectares of land, engage as small poultry raisers, raising not more than 1,000 poultry layers or 5,000 broilers, and livestock raisers, raising not more than 20 fatteners for swine, 10 fatteners or 5 breeders for cattle, 10 milking cows for dairy, and 50 heads for goat raising. Individual fishers are those engaged in fishing and fishery-based production and processing or similar activities, including those who are operating fishing vessels of not more than 3 tons capacity, operating fish ponds of less than 5 hectares of fish cages or less than 400 square meters, and other individuals who are engaged in small-scale fish production, processing, and distribution. Next, we have the Farmers and Fisherfolk Cooperative Associations and the registered micro and small enterprises who are engaged in agricultural production, farming, agribusiness, and similar activities with asset size of not more than 15 million pesos. Eligible loan purpose. So for the individual farmers and fisherfolk, we can finance purchase of farm inputs and equipment or farm improvement up to 1 million pesos per individual borrower. For both cooperatives or associations and MSMEs, we have acquisition or establishment of agri-based production, post-production, and processing machineries, equipment, and facilities with loanable amount of up to 5 million pesos. Next slide, please. The term of the loan shall depend on the gestation period of the commodity to be financed. For acquisition of fixed assets, the term of the loan shall depend on the projected cash flow, but shall not be longer than the economic useful life of the fixed asset. So in financing, may equity portion po talaga ang borrower. So for ASEF, financing mix is 90-10, wherein borrowers shall provide equity of not less than 10% of the total project cost, which may be in the form of capital outlay, labor, land, for the project site or facilities and equipment. Interest rate shall be at 2% per annum. Next slide, please. Eligibility requirements. So for all the target borrowers, we have common eligibility requirements. Dapat po viable ang project, no outstanding loan from land bank or from other formal or financial lending institutions for the same project being applied for, and my confirmed sources of repayment. For MSE, additional lang po dapat registered with DTI or SEC and no adverse findings on the borrower based on our credit information and background investigation. For farmers and fisherfolk co-ops and association, next please. Duly registered with CDA, operational for at least 6 months, no adverse findings on the borrower, with core management team and proven track record, especially on the project to be financed, and same, no outstanding loans from land bank and other financial institutions for the same project being applied for. Next, loan security. So basically, if the loan purpose is for production, collateral may be PCIC insurance if applicable, or assignment of expected produce. If project is acquisition or establishment of fixed asset, collateral may be combination of any or combination of chattel mortgage of the object of financing, assignment of expected produce, and the PCIC insurance proceeds if applicable. Next slide, please. Basic policies of the program. Yes, next slide. So application and pre-termination fees are waived in the ASEF program. CI, credit investigation and background investigation, is required only for MSEs and cooperatives. There is a pre-release requirement of enrollment or renewal of insurance and guarantee, especially for production loans. Mode of release may be lump sum or staggered depending on the project of the loan. Loan restructuring is allowed depending on the evaluation of the lending units, and refinancing is only allowed for loans affected by calamity as declared by the concerned LGU or the national government. Next slide, please. So for the documentary requirements, basic documentary requirements, a loan application form, general information sheet, simple business plan, and farm plan and budget for production loans, affidavit of no outstanding loans from any lending institution for the same project, barangay clearance. For MSME, we have additional requirement of certification. Next slide, please. Certification of registration from DTI or SEC, CDA in case of cooperative or association, current year business permit, and audited financial statements for the previous year. Yes, next slide, please. And biodata of the owner and the members of the cooperatives and association. Next slide, please. So for the process, you can secure the complete list of the eligibility documents and requirements available at Land Bank Lending Centers, DA regional offices, and the ASEF website. And then after we personally assess if our project is viable, especially kung may market na po ba yung product natin, we prepare the requirements. And before we submit the requirements po to Land Bank, daan po muna tayo kay DA Regional Office since we require the endorsement of DA before we start processing the loan application. Finally, after the approval of loan and no documentation, the applied loan shall be credited to the borrower's account with Land Bank. Next slide, please. So that's it. Thank you. That's for the ASEF program of Land Bank. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Laila. In the interest of time, we will no longer do the open forum, and to those who have key in their questions, we shall communicate your interest to the concerned speakers, and our secretariat will get back to you as soon as possible. Now we will be hearing the message of support from the chairperson of Senate Committee for Agriculture and Food, Senator Cynthia Villar.
Binabati ko ang lahat ng mga naririto sa kanilang pagdiriwang ng 22nd Davao Agri-Trade Expo. Very timely ang team ninyo na rebooting the country's agriculture towards the new normal dahil sa nahaharap tayo sa isang pandemya tulad ng COVID-19 virus. I wish you all a very successful and productive event. Maraming salamat po, mabuhay at stay safe.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the second part of Davao Agri-Trade Expo webinar series. Please stay tuned to Davao Chamber and Davao Agri-Trade Expo social media pages for more details and information. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us today, and let us always stay safe by following the minimum health protocols, ensuring the health and safety of every Filipino. This has been Roland Suico. See you all on our next date webinar on November 24. And may we all have a great day. Daghang salamat ug maayong adlaw.
Davao City, one of the most vibrant economies in the world. and the world comes together because life is here. As Mindanao's primary investment hub, the city boasts its outstanding transport connection, production technologies, favorable climate, and vast fertile land suitable for agribusiness. As one of Davao City's strongest sectors, the abundant supply of agricultural products and availability of raw materials along with low labor costs make food manufacturing and other value-adding activities viable for investors. The city's top commodity produce include banana, coconut oil, and pineapple, exported to different parts of Asia, reaching as far as Europe, Middle East, and the United States. Hailed as one of the most secured and livable cities in the world, Davao City is your best investment destination, especially in agribusiness and trade. Now is the best time to invest here. Come and invest in Davao City.
Nestled at the fullness of the Orient Seas, scattered gems of wonders right at the heart of the center of the Coral Triangle, the Philippines, with its 7,100 more islands, is a brewing paradise for your seafood pleasure. A country of infinites and teeming marine life, sprawled across 220 million hectares of water, the Philippines is home to the world's richest marine biodiversity. As one of the world's top fish producers, we give more than your usual, regular seafood experience. Live, fresh, smoked, frozen, dried, fresh frozen, seasoned or plain, we offer the best variety for your seafood fancy, however you like them to be. A socially and economically significant sector in the Philippines, fisheries provide livelihood to over 1.7 million fisherfolk. The bountiful seafood are caught sustainably using environment-friendly fishing gears from the seas that are dutifully managed, conserved, and protected for future generations. Coastal communities flourish and transform into lively, thriving eco-districts, generating employment for fisherfolk and their families. Our seafood products have undergone meticulous selection and production process. Each product is prepared and transported from fish source to production sites using best practices in food handling and safety guidelines. Food safety experts ensure that our fishery establishments, seafood processing plants, cold storage facilities, and warehouses follow quality standards from the world's food safety authorities. From the abundance enjoyed by our people, the Philippines now shares the same delight to various countries in different parts of the world. Canned, bottled, fresh, or fresh frozen, It is our commitment to constantly boost and innovate the variety of our traditional and value-added fishery products. An array of tastes and flavors, a bursting concoction of delectable seafood found in the world's richest marine biodiversity. We are the Philippines. Choose our fish. Choose the Philippine seafood.
The agricultural landscape of the Philippines is the backbone of the rural agricultural small household farmers, agricultural entrepreneurs, local agri-based manufacturing industry. With the Rapid Growth Project, the Philippine government envisions a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secured life to every Filipino. The project is a value chain development-based program involving market-driven agri-production and processing to achieve global market integration, covering 4 commodity value chains in 7 regions and 20 provinces, including Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This can be achieved through the partnership among government agencies, financial institutions, and the private sector collaborating to provide strategic interventions, such as direct assistance through matching grants for productive investments in order to address market failures and encourage private sector investment, institutional strengthening, technical assistance to the rural financial service providers, innovative agri-financing, and management support, converging to include market-driven agri-production, increase productive capacity of small farmers to strengthen market linkage to benefit from the gain of commercial partnerships, transforming small farmers to become agripreneurs and bring trabajo, negosyo, and kabuhayan for men, women, indigenous peoples, and persons who are differently abled. To reach more agri-based cooperatives and rural financial institutions to further develop more MSMEs and build commercial business partnerships with the rural communities. We can strengthen and sustain market linkages in the local and global market and achieve inclusive and sustainable economic development. The Rapid Growth Project is a value chain development. It is about inclusion, convergence, and collaboration.
At Land Bank, we work hard to create and provide you with products suitable to your needs, complemented by a delightful customer service experience. We are Land Bank, and we are here to help you grow wherever you are. With our array of financial solutions, as well as our development lending programs, we make sure that everyone enjoys the many benefits of banking with us. We bring our financial services closer to more Filipinos beyond the 4 walls of our branches. Now and in the coming years, Land Bank commits to serving you better. And with your support and our continued partnership, we can make a lasting impact on the lives of more and more Filipinos. We are Land Bank. We bank on Filipino ingenuity and perseverance that have no bounds. We're about sharing hopes and ambitions and nurturing them to life. We revere partnerships in the spirit of cooperation as keys to success. We believe in the Filipinos' aspiration of triumph. We believe in you. Whatever your dream, whatever your goal, we are here to help you grow. This is our mission, and this is our promise to you.
Most business operations and economic activities worldwide were put on hold due to the coronavirus pandemic. With this situation, Magsige MPC has adopted the present situation in order to ensure the continuity of the cooperative operations despite from the pandemic and rolled out the 4 identified strategy. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions, launching of community response programs, explore other income-generating activities, and following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies. Transition to online operations and cashless transactions. The enforced lockdown during the coronavirus outbreak saw many organizations and businesses adopting a work-from-home scheme and shifting towards digital and cashless transactions as part of Magsige MPC's business continuity plan and adopt to the so-called new normal. Magsige MPC is now implementing its major shift to digitalize its operations. It had launched its own website via www.magsigempc.com to gain competitive advantage and improve the cooperative's image. This will help the cooperative in getting more leads and prospects, increase sales, enhance the Magsige MPC's professional brand, and ultimately improve its customer service. Aside from the website, the cooperative also engaged in putting up of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube with the same purpose to gain competitive advantage and ultimately improve its customer service. And with a partnership of Magsige MPC to the country's latest digital platform that will revolutionize the way cooperatives serve their members, DG Co-op. The platform enables the member to transact online. No need to line up for loan application. No need to wait for weeks to receive claims and benefits. Introducing the DG Co-op Wallet app and Circle Card, where members will receive their payout, claims, and benefits without lining up. Apply loans online. No need to go to any Magsige MPC offices and pay your dues in over 40,000 payment centers. And the most exciting feature of the platform, cooperative members can shop online via DG Co-op Marketplace, linked to Magsige MPC online store and the Magsige MPC Co-op Mart. Launching of community response programs. In times of severe crisis, like the coronavirus outbreak, it is fitting for Magsige MPC to channel the spirit of cooperativism by extending help to affected communities in whatever capacity it could. Such initiatives include production of protective equipment like coverall suits and face masks, continuing partnership with DepEd in the implementation of the cooperative's Adopt a School program, conduct of donation drives in partnership with fellow cooperatives, the LGUs in the private sector to help those in need in these trying times, exploring of other income-generating activities. The coronavirus outbreak had put many business operations in limbo. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Magsige MPC to look for opportunities that can help generate income for the cooperative. This includes the production of additional relevant product lines for garments manufacturing, such as the production of bed sheets and pillowcases, undergarments, and fashionable face masks under the brand Gray. Also, it is timely for the co-op to engage into agri-production, including coffee and banana. Other opportunities include on-demand delivery service, Magsige MPC online store that will bring the store at the doorsteps of our customers. There is also a great opportunity in the housekeeping services. The reason why Magsige MPC launched its housekeeping services, its workforce with NC2 certification from TESTA. It is also the pride of the cooperative of having its own training and assessment center, accredited by TESTA, with accreditation numbers 20201124 TRSHSK213012 and ACHSK021124192130 respectively. Following the protocols for the COVID outbreak while executing the strategies, Magsige MPC puts on top the safety and health of the personnel executing the projects. With the health and sanitary protocols to be implemented, no doubt that the cooperative can respond and adapt to the new norms despite of the pandemic. Inspired by its tagline for the year 2020, Magsige MPC will continue to engage in the available possibilities and will show the world that we can.
In 1968, the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines came down to Davao to invite some businessmen here to form the local chamber to be affiliated with them. So a group of young executives headed by Attorney Ramon Tirol, Edmondo Madraso, Joe Custodio, Joe Sibilia, those are core group that organized the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
Of course, this is a Chamber of Commerce. The objective is to form a group so that we can have one voice for the business in our relation, firstly with the government, and secondly, in relation to other chambers, especially the national chambers and the other chambers of commerce abroad.
Davao City Chamber, or any business chamber for that matter, is supposed to help small and medium-scale business improve their business. Now, how do we do that? It brings all the small business together, particularly their problem with the local government or national government. There are other concerns such as wanting to meet with their supplier, wanting to meet with a potential customer, or wanting to meet with a peer businessman in the same industry.
Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry Incorporated, as the voice of the business sector of Davao City, has been actively conducting monthly membership meetings in order to know the recent trends and updates on business sector, and as well as get some insights, concerns, and issues of business community. With the Chamber's active involvement on the crucial issues surrounding the business community, it led to activities such as the dialogue on the proposed Davao Sasa Port Modernization Project, Forum on the Third Proposed Zonal Valuation Revision, and the Bangsa Moro Basic Law Forum. This is on top of the major events that Davao City Chamber conducts, such as the Davao Agri-Trade Expo and Davao Investment Conference, in order to encourage investments in Davao and Mindanao in general.
Purpose of our membership in the Chamber is first and foremost for business growth. The Chamber represents for us a vehicle or venue for our companies, products, and services to be able to reach a wider or larger audience. And this is done by the activities and events that the Chamber undertakes, such as the trade expositions, the symposia, the business conferences. These activities allow companies from here and abroad to get together and explore what they might want to undertake together in terms of projects or advocacies.
Monthly meetings of the Chamber have provided us a fertile ground for obtaining this information from the speakers, from the guest speakers of the monthly meetings, and from the issues and discussions that are raised by the Chamber members, thereby enabling us to have a comprehensive view of the information that we need to be able to support our plans for running our businesses.
We consider the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a very important partner in our advocacy for SME development as well as business development. They have been our partners since the DTI started back in 1987, and we really honed that partnership, develop and strengthen so that we can reach more MSMEs. We have implemented joint projects with the Davao City Chamber of Commerce. We have our SME Center. We have our mentoring of SMEs, as well as we have partnered in several big events such as their institutionalized date and other investment forum activities. And we wouldn't have done it that well without the Davao City Chamber of Commerce.
The Chamber also is giving priority to anything that would improve tourism, in the sense that tourism contributes a lot to what they call inclusive growth. The Davao Chamber is into advocacy to make everyone involved or stakeholders in the port understand how the port is doing and what to expect in the future.
The partnership between the city government and the Davao City Chamber of Commerce has always been grounded on two values, that is on cooperation and on support. They have always been actively engaged in the formulation of programs that has helped propel the business environment of Davao City, seating as among the representatives of the private sector in the different boards and committees of the local government.